Hi everybody, Jean back with more Mars Anomalies and Artefacts. This is another Mars high-rise epic, a Martian art showcase of sorts. Argyre Valley blocks and sculptures on Mars. The high-rise photograph we're analyzing is called Valley Entering Argyre Region, and I'll include the link to this page below. Acquired on the 24th of September 2007 at 25 centimeters per pixel resolution, and as usual I'm showing images are cropped from a JP2 black and white map projected file. Here's a crop from the low-res JPEG, and we're looking at artifacts and anomalies are discovered in this dark region to the north and then to the south. And it looks as if these were two riverbanks with a river flowing through the center, but we'll check that out on Mars using Google Earth. This area is located 57.78 degrees south, 312.82 degrees east. And this is the high-rise photograph we're looking at. And this is where I speculate there may have been a river that flowed through this region into Argyre Planitia, which is a huge plain at the top of this image. So check that out. So this river must have been something like, if you look at the scale, that would be about 10, that would be about 5, so that would have been about 2.5 kilometers wide. Quite a huge river that may have flowed through this area. So the first anomaly we're looking at is this block with two sides that are very smooth and flat. So that block measures about 10 by, let's see, the height is about 4 to 5 meters. Now we can see the block up close with the two smooth surfaces or sides with a rounded edge and a 90-degree angle on this side over here. Another huge surface anomaly. This thing's about, I'd say, 18 meters across, and each side measures about 14 meters. And to the top we've got another one of these sort of circular objects with a little dome like pyramid on it, like a little knob, and also very smooth surface, well defined edges, and then this smaller block in the top corner seems to be joined in there as if this part was carved out of the larger block with a smaller block fitting into that. Very ornate feature, and that reminds me of some other art we're going to check out. This is from our video called Massive Structures and Small Craft Found on Mars, showing this perfectly triangular formed or made surface feature. The base is about 60 meters long, and it looks almost as if this is part of a three-sided pyramid that hasn't been completed yet. The other side being over here to the right, the third side being there up to the top. So check at the well-defined edges on this guy, and that's 60 meters long, that base. Another one of these weird, strange looking sculptures. This measures about 10 meters across, and up close we can see a larger base structure with a small little triangular knob or feature in the center. I'm speculating that some of these that I've covered in previous videos might be sort of forms of Martian art, maybe there's some cultural, spiritual or tribal significance to these. That also reminds me of two other ornate looking sculptures on top of square or rectangular bases. These measure about 10 by 10 meters each, and on top we've got two rather strange looking artifacts. This one over here looks very similar to this one over here. So this comes from weird square structures and more found in Ionia Terra. Also, this is it up close. You can see this plate is slightly bent. Could this have been a metallic structure? And this massive globe or sphere in my video called Broken Statue and Monument Pieces. This sphere is about 15 meters in diameter, and it seems as if it has like a shield sort of mounted to the left. You can see the smooth surface of the ball over here, and then on this side what looks like little pyramids or triangular objects. Here it is close up. This looks like a plate that's been bent into a rounded shape, mounted to the side. The smooth surface of the globe or sphere. And then on this side, some pyramids and triangular parts. And then this, my friend Saturn Arc discovered this. It's this massive, what looks like a capital letter A or top of an arch. You can see the really well defined edges. Looks as if it's broken. This right hand piece is broken off the main structure. But check at the geometry and symmetry in this. It looks almost like a type of a gateway perhaps, with this piece being carved out there in the center, and the base of this is about 20 meters across, so it's huge. Comes from my video called the Kanowski Giza Pyramid Complex Project. Here it is close up. You can see the edge over here, also along this side there, and a very smooth flat surface. And this, I call it the Eye of Horus, from my video called Cydonia 2.0 Mars MRO Epic. And this, what I call an eye, is about 470 meters in width. You can see the eyebrow running through there, or the eyelashes over here as well, with a slightly oval like pupil in the center. Check that out. Here it is close up. Yeah, so this looks like an eyebrow, the eyelid here and there, with some eyelashes going through there, and strange oval pupil perhaps. So this is huge, 470 meters across, and that comes from a CTX image. You can reference that file name there. So now we're looking at this strange rectangular object in the center of the screen, which measures about 5 meters in width and about 8 meters long, and then it's got this side to it there on the left. As you can see, this area we're analyzing is really bright. Looks like river sand perhaps, and I've struggled to adjust the contrast so that we can still see the detail, but check it, this narrow rectangular opening on this one side, smooth surface, 90-degree angles over here, and then this piece coming off to the left. So maybe that's a type of wreckage, some type of machine even, this being a ventilation, maybe it's a hangar, who knows. Here we're looking at these blocks over here. The larger one is about 12 meters long by about 6 meters wide, and then it's got a little oval sphere or knob on it which measures about 2.5 meters across. Here we've got the larger block. You can see the one side over here, and then the other one on top with that dome-like feature or knob, and next to it another block which seems to have moved slightly to the left, an opening running through there, and this strange triangular object, it's about 15 to 18 meters long, and it's got some perfect symmetry and geometry to it. Got two triangular sides through the center line, and on either side what looks like vents or slots, very similar to another artifact or object I found in the ancient Hellespontus wreckage of Mars. This one's also about 15 to 18 meters long. We've got two triangular sides with two sort of slits or slots, openings on either side of the center line, and it reminds me of the Quimbaya jet, as discovered in South America. Check out the similarity between these objects. Yeah, we're looking at this feature, which is about 20 meters long, and that circular knob or dome in the center is about 4 meters in diameter. So check, we've got sort of like an arch, a rounded arch here, what looks like maybe a disc-like piece sticking out to the right, making the shadow, and then this area seems to be carved out. You can see another side here and down here as well, with an opening on this side perhaps. Maybe this is a ventilation opening, or just another sort of art form, who knows. Here we're looking at these blocks that have parted ways, and these all measure about 10 by 10 meters. There we can see another block to the right, maybe some layering over here too, with these what look like metal plates or slabs. Another one of these really interesting surface features. This measures about 10 meters to 12 meters across. got a flat side here. We can see another side there. It's almost like a slab. And on top of the one side, it seems to be slightly carved out. We've got these two smaller objects, and then another strange triangular piece on top, with this part looks as if it was made to fit into this opening. And we're looking at this square slab or megalith over here, which measures about 10 by 10 by 10, and it's got a little hole there right in the center, the diameter of about 1.5 meters, and then the strange long narrow object over there, which is about 2 meters wide and about 10 meters long. Lots of other debris and wreckage in this area. This is now in the, what would it be, in the bottom of the river. It looks almost like it could have been a log, like petrified wood maybe, who knows. Check that out. Highly irregular shape. I don't see many of those on Mars. We're looking at these blocks, also measuring about 10 by 10, and that one there about, let's see, 15 meters long. Smooth surfaces and straight edges. Two blocks lying next to one another. We're looking at those blocks. Those are about 6 by 6 meters each. You can see a square block there, and then a rounded one, rounded corners to the right, with a strange feature on the side of this one. So those blocks remind me of others that you might be familiar with. NASA's Mars Insight Lander and the ruins of Elysium, where we can also see some blocks next to one another. These measure about 8 by 8 meters each. And on top we can see what looks like a little pyramid with a circular symbol on the one side, sort of like a temple. You can see one large block here and then two smaller ones next to it, and then another block similar to these to the left. There also seems to be a circular glyph or symbol on this one. Check that out there as well. Now we're looking at these anomalies, and rather strange blocks. This one's about 2 meters wide by about 8 meters long. Looks almost as if it's got 3 sides, like a hexagon standing up on edge. There's a partially buried slab or metal plate with the straight edges with rounded corner there. Another block partially buried over here. And then I don't know if this is one large piece with this side and that side sticking out, but nonetheless there we've got another almost square shape, little hole in it. Also looks like a typical ruin. We're looking at another L-shaped object there. This one's about 12 by 10 meters, and it's a 90-degree angle to it as well, and what looks like a long narrow groove on the one side, very similar to another one you might be familiar with, also from NASA's Mars Insight lander and the ruins of Elysium. So this is also 12 meters long by about 10 meters long, and we have a right angle in this piece as well. And what looks like what could be an opening on this side. Maybe that's the top of an outpost. Then another really strange, looks almost like a chevron shaped object. That's about 15 to 18 meters across. And let's see, this narrower part, it's probably about 10 meters. Zoomed in, we can see the shape. So it looks as if there might be some geometry and symmetry in this. The side being partially covered in sand and dust. And then here, smooth flat side with a little step. It looks like a little step next to it. Reminds me of another sort of triangular block measuring about 18 meters across, from our video called The Epic Ruins and Wreckage of Charitum Montes on Mars, part 3. And up close you can see there's a circular hole drilled into the middle of that one side. Now we're looking at these objects just to the right of that one we just checked out. More blocks over here. Lots of wreckage, debris, what looks like ruins. So this rectangular block is about 8 meters long, about 3 meters wide. You see two of the sides, and then another triangular piece to the right with really strange artifact on top in the center, casting that shadow. And we're looking at these blocks. The bottom one is about 18 meters long by about 8 meters wide. You can see there's 3 pieces over here, and then this part lying on top of this larger one, and in the center of this one we've got a long narrow dark spot. Could that be a top of a hole as well? And then to the right we've got more metal plates or megalithic slabs. This strange darker object protruding out from underneath this one. Check that well-defined shape and edge. This one over here seems to have a U shape cut into the one side as well. It's almost like there's steps going off to the left. That's over here. Those look like they could be steps. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. You can see those there. And then some of the typical culprits. This one's about, or usual suspects. This one's about 8 meters across. Another one of these disc-shaped objects with a hole in the center measuring about a meter, meter and a half. Check at this piece over here. these two rounded parts sticking off the side. Here we're looking at another square object or slab with a little sphere, dome or knob in the middle, measuring about 1.5 meters across as well. So could these be art forms, like a little sculpture on top of a larger base? A whole new direction. Here's a row of megalithic blocks, and this is about 25 meters long, and each block measures about 4 by 4 meters. Check that out, all in a row. This block over here seems to have a little object on the top casting that shadow, and then we've got this block on top with a V cut out on that one side, coinciding with this object over here. So some intelligent design perhaps. This be a wall, maybe even an opening over here. And then up in the northern part, or the northern bank, we got these really large rocks and boulders, but this one stood out to me. Could be unnatural. It measures about 10 by 10 by 10. If we zoom in, you can see a triangular shape with rounded corners, and looks to be covering an opening perhaps. And then over here we've got a rectangular part sticking out that measures about 22 meters long, and the little dome or knob on the one side is about 2 meters in diameter. And if we zoom in, so it looks like maybe a megalithic slab or bent and wrecked metal plate, as well as here. It looks highly irregular with that object there in the center of this rectangular side. Almost like a little arch. Down in the southern hemisphere again, and in this area there's some of the anomalies we've just had a look at. That one there is really interesting, and this one with that opening, very interesting as well. There'd also be a type of an eye, symbol for an eye. Let's have a look at some of the other anomalies I discovered in this region. Check out those megalithic blocks. This really looks like some type of artwork. Interesting hypothesis. And then let's switch on the CTX mosaic. This is Argyre Planitia here, and it looks as if there might have been a river that flowed through here into the plain. So check that out. Go for an elevated view. Make that huge plain. The area we're looking at is right here. It looks pretty much as if a river flowed through this area. Let's confirm. That's about 2 kilometers wide. Thanks again for watching. I'll be back soon with more anomalies. Bye bye for now.